guys, so this is the second day of the conference and I'm about to go downstairs and I talk to you guys once I get there. I'm here waiting basically for the first session today and it's gonna be the writer track and the first person talking today, Jennifer Nielsen. I'm happy about that. Her keynote yesterday was awesome. Probably my favorite part of the conference. I haven't eaten yet, so I'm gonna eat protein bar. That's my breakfast. We are in the middle of the first class. Actually, we did something that was quite fun. Jennifer put us to plot a novel together. She just gave us like the headline of a newspaper and we have to create a story based on that, and it was lots of fun. Come up with a pretty decent concept. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys after this is over. The first lecture just ended. It was about plot. One of the most interesting things that she said that stuck with me, and I have heard this before, but it was that at every moment of your story, you should like come up with like 5 possibilities of things that can happen. The first option is always going to be like what your reader will come up with. So you need to explore the possibilities, and normally it's not going to be option 5 either because it's going to be way too weird, but it's important to restrain yourself a little bit so your creativity can take charge. So anyway, we are going to have lunch now. We all just had lunch, and I'm gonna guess the people on the table what were their favorite thing about the conference.
I really love just meeting all the different people. So many different types, you know, everyone from middle grade to YA to picture books.
I'm really enjoying being around all these inspiring and motivated people and just getting the creative juices going.
My favorite thing has been the writing workshop part. I've never done that before, and I learned a ton.
I like the illustrator workshop we did today. It was really helpful, and I liked all the critiques. I've learned a lot.
I really liked Andrea Welch's presentations from Beach Lane Books. She did a 2-part series, and I stayed for both parts. And I liked getting to hear a little bit more about Beach Lane and seeing their offices and getting to hear about some of the authors she's worked with. And I love that her submission guidelines say no query letters, just send the manuscript.
All the presentations have been very specific. I also like the individual feedback and critiques.
The second session was with Jill. She's an agent, and it was really interesting because she showed changes that she suggested for her clients to make and how much, a manuscript can change once it gets accepted by an agent. She gave me an interview and I asked her and a report about trends.
I think it's just sort of we've reached past the sort of dystopian sort of peak of interest, and no one really has the next big trend yet. The next kind of big book hasn't broken out, so they're looking at other genres, and contemporary is always a strong YA genre.
For the longest time, contemporary realism was considered to be a quiet kind of read. So suddenly they're getting their time in the spotlight, which is great.
And actually, we've done really well recently with some thrillers, which I think is kind of related to certain people have a little bit of fatigue with the dystopian or the paranormal or other trends, and so are looking for something different.
I don't believe in writing to trends, but I do believe in having a sense of where the marketplace is. For those writing fantasy and science fiction, etc., they're probably wondering, okay, well now that the focus is on contemporary, what do I do? Science fiction, fantasy, all of these kinds of books that maybe are not so much in the spotlight at the moment, they continue to sell. Readers love them. I'm selling them all the time. The difference is that mediocre books in this category are no longer finding a publishing home just because publishers are hungry for them. They have to be great books. So just make your book great. Focus on the craft.
I really love this conference, and it's just a very welcoming environment. I'm quite sure I said like 100 times that I was tired. I'm very tired. It is pretty exhausting. I'm so tired. But it's part of the process. It's just that it's a lot of information to absorb, and it gets to a point that you're a little brain dead. Because normally I come up this inspired when I go to workshops because, you're working directly with craft all the time. but this conference, because it's so focused on craft, I'm leaving with the same kind of feeling, and that is great. I absolutely love this conference. I think it's one of the best I have ever attended. I asked some friends about their first conferences.
My first conference was probably 4 years ago.
My first conference must have been over 15 years ago.
This is the 10-year anniversary of me coming to the first SCBWI conference. I was so excited to go. I knew one person in the entire community.
I was so nervous because I didn't know really anybody.
I was a young agent, and it was very humbling. I realized behind every manuscript is a real person who's been working really, really hard up to the point where they sent me their manuscript. For the authors, they realized that agents are human too, that we are born to a mother and a father. And even if you can't see the author behind the manuscript, it has to be respected both ways. There has to be understanding of what the author is up against and what the agent is up against, and the assumption that there is goodwill there.
At my first conference, I was just a very young writer. I made a complete idiot of myself in front of a very well-known agent because I'm very shy. So I went in and I froze up in front of him, and so I think my entire speech to him was, "Hi, I love the book by that author that I loved, and I've got to go, bye." And I ran off.
That's how it went. And you queried that agent later?
No.
I remember that was, such an overwhelming, huge experience for me. And so before then, I had always said, I'm an aspiring writer, or I'm trying to write, but I left thinking, no, I am a writer for sure.
It was in Austin, SCBWI, and it's where I first met Kathy Uphelt, who later became my mentor and my writing teacher and a fellow faculty member at BCFA. And I remember looking at Elephants Aloft, and the text of it is something like up, down, over, under, and features two elephants coming together from Africa and India. And I couldn't for the life of me understand how anyone could sell a book where the only words were up, down, over, under, but I didn't tell her so. And to this day, she will probably find out just because she watches this video, and I'll never hear the end of it. But she is a genius and a living legend.
I'm going home now. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, hit below, and please subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. Please put them in the comment section. Give me suggestions for future videos. Let me know what you want to see in this channel. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Bye!